Welcome to the Engineering, Emotions, and Energy podcast. I'm your host, Justin Wink. Welcome to the show, Home Box Office. Can I call you HBO? So we're going to be talking a little bit about getting away from the house. And so a lot's been going on in the last couple weeks. So I have been kind of doing a bit of a series tied to the various meditations I like to offer. So, we talked about, proprioception for relaxation, love and compassion, the challenges of the word why and how to use the word why effectively by posing lofty questions such as like, why is this one of the greatest podcasts you've ever heard? And why are you going to rate it 5 stars? So please do so. If you would like to rate it something less, shoot me up on, social media, direct message me. You don't need to share that so that I can make this show better. And how to find me on social media, go to the brand new justinwink.com and navigate to the podcast link there. And you can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. There might be others, but they're all there at justinwink.com. So a lot's been going on, and I'm just like, I got to share this stuff. And so we'll eventually get through, like, I got a lot of cool ways to help you reduce stress, increase your energy, and live more from your heart. And I want to make, these tools available to you so that it's just really easy, because that was one of the things that came up with what today's topic is, which is not just treating yourself, but retreating yourself by going on a retreat. And I'm going to go over the 5 benefits of being on retreat. And so we'll get to that. But, one of the things that I got up to recently that happened was an opportunity to teach yoga. As you may or may not know, about 6 years ago, I became a certified yoga teacher doing a 200-hour yoga teacher training. And in 2020, I finished an additional 300 hours. And I hadn't taught in at least 3 years when I think I signed up for that yoga teacher training. And I thought maybe I might get into it. But by the end of the yoga teacher training, I decided I didn't really want to teach yoga necessarily. It was still a fantastic experience to just learn and to grow and to connect with the other people, which it got weird with having to do virtual yoga classes and things like that, with 2020. So when I got asked, hey, there's this new yoga studio that's looking for teachers, would you like to teach? I was like, I would rather teach meditation. I'd be willing to do a yogatation where I teach a little bit of yoga and a little bit of meditation. And if somebody only wants to stay for the first half or the last half or the whole thing, I don't care. Because I really think, working with the mind, that's where the transformation is. And to me, there's just so many phenomenal teachers doing great yoga teaching that I'm just like, that's not my wheelhouse. But teaching, traditional techniques and modern methods to help you, really dial in and unlock the power of your mind instead of being a slave to those thoughts that just keep hammering away. And it's like a pattern, and maybe you don't even know the pattern yet. But as you listen to the show, you're going to start to notice and become aware and realize, like, man, there's some stuff that's not me. And I want to find out who I am and do the stuff and have the thoughts and have the feelings that I want to have, not the ones that I've just been having for the rest of my life. And so that's where I want to, bring the compassion and forgiveness, practices and, how to relax and things like that. And so I got to teach my first class just yesterday as I'm recording this. And it was just so awesome to be able to share this. And, the people loved the state of relaxation and calm and how just amazing they felt. And they're just like, I gotta come to your class all the time, which I was totally not expecting, because I was like, this is the first time, one woman was like, I've never taken a yogatation before. And I'm like, I've never taught a yogatation. And then I was like, I've taught tons of yoga. I've taught tons of meditation. This is the first time combining them. And she felt better because she was like what? so it went really well. So I'm looking forward to doing that again. And, I feel like this is what came up as an opportunity after going to this retreat and just sometimes it's like you take the time for yourself and the world starts either bringing them or your mind is able to start noticing that there's all these different things that are possible. So let's start getting into, retreat. So I'm going to tell you the 5 benefits of retreat, and then I'll tell you a little bit about how I constructed it and then how you can do your own retreat or look for a retreat. Because what I did, I wouldn't recommend for most people. Um, but there's so many people that offer great retreats, and I'm gonna give you some tips on how to find that. Or if you can't get away, you're just like, hey, Justin, like I got so much work, I got so many home responsibilities, like I just can't take the time. And I understand that, but I'd also like to offer it's not about taking the time because one way or another, the time is ticking away, and at some point, if you go into the future, the time of retreat will be forced upon you, often due to horrible, horrible health outcomes. And I don't know, there's lots of people that I'd talked to that had taken time away from their jobs and things like that. And just about, I would say 80%, they took the time away from work because they had to go to the emergency room or there was some hospital stay or something involved. Very few people because uh, I just knew it was time and I took the time away. So the question really isn't like, do you have the time? It's um, can you afford to wait till you have to take the time, or can you make yourself a priority, which ultimately ends up making all of those you care about a priority because when you're a better person, you have more to give to those that you love and that you work with and that you care about because you're able to be more loving, more understanding, and you're able to know your gifts at a much deeper level and give them to other people. So it really isn't about do you have the time? It really is how can you make this happen as soon as possible so that you actually see how much time you have to do the things that truly matter? Because often we're just doing what we're doing out of habit and not doing what truly matters to us. And um, let me now get started on the 5 benefits. So they are relaxation, solitude, clarity, gratitude, and perspective. And I'm going to briefly go in and give some examples of how I experience these. So, first off, relaxation. Just getting away from the everyday stresses. You're not at work, you're not at home, because who's had that situation where, you know, it's the weekend and then there ends up being, home issues, like maybe something broke, the water heater broke, and so now you got to get a plumber, and almost the weekend was more stressful than your week at work, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait, I can't wait to get back to work so that I can get away from the madness at home, one way or the other. So you're away from all of that. There is effectively no nothing that you need to take care of in a way that you are used to. You didn't create the situation where you are at the retreat. You don't have to maintain the situation. You just have to show up and be alone for the ride, and that can be deeply, uh, very relaxing. And then often retreats are in an area filled with nature, so you could be a beachside retreat, a mountain center retreat, possibly on the desert, and just being in nature with the sounds of birds and the chirping of wildlife, or even just hearing as the wind blows the rustling of leaves and seeing the colors of the sun, because you're likely going to be getting out, walking around and experiencing the outdoors way more than you're used to. Or maybe you're lucky if when you wake up, you look out the window, see the sun, and then maybe the last time is, you remember to look outside before it goes down. And that might be all the contact just through a window that you have of the changing colors of of the day. And stars? Are there even stars? Yes, there are stars out there, especially on a clear night, and especially if you get farther away from city life. And all of that is deeply relaxing on multiple levels because it just reminds us, of evolutionarily where we used to be, which was more in nature with less of, being enclosed in a house and all these things. The second part is solitude. So I definitely recommend for your first retreat, you do want to go with a group of people, yet there's still going to be an element of solitude, usually as part of this, where maybe you're doing meditative practices or you're doing some sort of physical practice like a yoga or a qigong, or there might be periods where they ask you to engage in silence. And so it really is very powerful to be doing things where it's just you with yourself, where there's no having to worry about what you're saying to people or listening to other people. And it's just you with your thoughts and your feelings. And it really allows that awareness to come that you are neither your thoughts or your feelings or your body aches and pains necessarily, because these things will come up because it's a habit, and you'll recognize like, oh, I'm sitting at a beautiful beachside, sitting on a comfortable cushion, practicing silence. There really is objectively nothing to worry about. And you'll notice that, hey, my shoulder hurts, and I'm thinking this guy sitting in front of me is an asshole. And I'm feeling very angry all of a sudden. And you can kind of get that detachment that, maybe some of the things that I think are problems aren't really problems. Maybe it's just I keep bringing this up, and because I keep bringing it up, I keep having it in my life. Ding dong. Um, Now you have a chance to maybe do something about it. So that solitude just gives you that distance, and also it leads to the third benefit of going on retreat, which can be profound clarity with things that you might want to do or avoid in your life. And I know for me, I did uh, quite a few periods of about 4 hours of complete silence, whereas nothing but me and staring and trying to listen for that which cannot be heard. Do you hear it? That break where you're waiting for hearing something, that is total silence. And in that break, in that space, you can start to have the possibility where you might, if you kind of ask a question before, like, where should I live? Or how should I be helping people? You might get like a little voice, or you might get a little bit of a visual or a feeling of an answer that'll be different than that thinking, chattering mind that is that inner monologue that you're used to hearing nonstop, going, well, I don't know, should I be with this person or should I not be with this person? I mean, I've been with this person for a long time, but I don't know, maybe it's time to do something. Like, it won't sound like that. It'll be something real subtle, like, um, I'll give a good example. This is it's a bit of a dumb one, but still, sometimes these little things can end up being big things. Um, like, one thing that came to me in my silence was, get rid of 3 of the cushions of your giant sectional couch. It was less wordy than that. I think it was like a visual. Like, I was more, I saw the new arrangement. I'm just like, yes, that is what I got to do. Um, but I also had, some more profound things of like, oh, gotta help people relax, energize, and live more from the heart. Like, that really, it had been something kind of knew, but it became super clear. It was like, help people live from the heart. Just that very soft, subtle message. And then this, because when you kind of like get in the zone of like you're once you've quieted yourself, you'll start, it's okay. You don't have to believe it. This is all, experiment of one. This is, I don't believe me. Do not believe me, but try it out. See if it is. If you can find a way to get really calm, which is what a retreat is all about, at peace, and start seeing if things start lining up. Because I shit you not, I had in this meditation gotten this like help people live from the heart, which to me is it's helping people do what they truly want to do with their lives, which might not 100% make intellectual sense, but because there's something like, well, if you're making a certain amount of money, why would you ever risk that to go like be a musician, be an artist? Yet we know tons of examples of people that have done that and been wildly successful, or if not wildly successful, at least wildly fulfilled and super happy and loving their lives. So
feeling overwhelmed by the daily grind? Imagine if you could pause, reset, and truly connect with a calmer, more fulfilled you. It's not just a dream, it's absolutely possible. Hi, I'm Justin, and I invite you to discover the life-changing techniques in my book, Engineered to Love. Right now, I'm offering a free chapter complete with guided audios that have already helped so many people find peace amidst the chaos. These aren't just any techniques. They're transformative practices designed to help you love yourself and engage deeply with the present moment, without even having to close your eyes to the world around you. So join us at engineeredtolove.com/sample and access your free guided session. It's time to bust the busyness and embrace the joy, ease, and love in your everyday life. Don't wait. Start your journey to a more relaxed and recharged you today, because you deserve to live a life you love. Visit engineeredtolove.com/sample. See you there.
it was not even like 5 minutes after that came to me that I opened up a book and there was a quote in it, and it said there, I'm paraphrasing because I'm just not one of those people that memorizes quotes word for word. It said basically the extent was like, one of the most important things you need to do is learn to live from your heart. And I was just like, what? So it was like, okay, got the message. So clarity. This brings us to our fourth. So we've gone through relaxation, solitude, clarity. The fourth thing is gratitude. So a lot of what's going to happen on a retreat is going to annoy the shit out of you. There's going to be things because you're out of your element, you're out of your zone of comfort. But this is, what helps get these growth things of gratitude for what you do have in your life that you like, such as, so I was staying in like a little Airbnb, and the insulation was not the greatest. So if the heater wasn't running, it got cold fast. And so I would often have the bathroom door closed. And so if I would go into the bathroom, it was freezing. And I'm like, oh, I am now really grateful for the insulation in my house and that it's more or less at a constant temperature and it doesn't fluctuate too crazy. And then there's also just the gratitude for some of the simpler things, like, it is like really cool that there can be so much beauty out in nature, or that I, was able to make this happen, that I have the circumstances to get together a trip like this. So there's lots of opportunities to be grateful for, the things that you left from your regular life, and then maybe the things that you're grateful that, are different. You're grateful for the opportunity, for that clarity, for that relaxation, for that time away where you don't have to be impressing anybody else or worrying about what other people say, and having gratitude for that. And from gratitude, it's a really powerful place to be in because it just creates more and more of all that good stuff. And then the fifth benefit is perspective. It, so if your groove has turned into a rut, from that rut, you are not, I'm never going to say 100%, but I'm honestly, good luck getting out of that rut from being in that rut. You gotta change to a different perspective. You got to get out of that, because basically you're not going to solve the problem from the same place where it was created. I believe there's a quote attributed usually to Einstein about that. So it's like the same thinking and actions that have gotten you into this rut will not get you out of it. And so going and doing something completely out of your norm, being in an environment that you don't control anymore, allows Um, Nay, oh boy, I'm using weird. I'm a horse. Nay, it forces you to have a different perspective because you are out of your comfort zone. And so you can look at your life differently and kind of see what works, what doesn't work, and does do some things need to change, or at the very least, your way of changing it, your way of looking at it has changed, which is awesome. Like maybe it's one of those like, your partner does like really annoying things in the bathroom or something like that. And when you're away, you recognize that, oh yeah, but they also like, tenderingly and lovingly, give you a sweet hug or something. Um, or maybe perhaps if you're single, you're like, oh man, I always feel so alone. And then, if you're at a retreat that does have other people and you're forced to sort of like interact or be surrounded by the presence of others more frequently, there can be appreciation of, um, yeah, like there's a lot of benefits that I can really be free to do what I want and be with myself and make my own decisions. And there's some stuff I like about people, but you can have an appreciation of your aloneness. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're lonely just because you're alone. So those are the five benefits: relaxation, solitude, clarity, gratitude, perspective. So I really recommend retreating yourself, especially, coming out of 2020 with, a lot of quarantine, stuff like that. Uh, many of you, many of us, myself, or probably people got really stuck, physically and then emotionally. And so to sometimes the best way, because our mind often leads our body, but our body can also lead our mind. So sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is to have a physical change, which helps change that mind. And then once we get our mind and body sort of going, kicking, then we can come back home and make the changes to be more present, more aware with the people that, we want to be and live the life that we want to be living. So the way I did this retreat, since this isn't my first retreat. My first retreat, I believe, was around like 2007, 2009. Um, Went to the Shambhala Mountain Center outside of Denver, Colorado, up in the Rocky Mountains. Beautiful center. There's a stupa out there, which is basically it's kind of sort of a monument with a lot of intention. These are sort of Buddhist temple-like structures. Lots of parts of the world. There's not a lot of them in the northern hemisphere. Well, North America. Sorry, North America. Um, and just so to get to see that, and then to sit in meditation, and I think the first one I went to was called a Sangha retreat. So Sangha is like a group in a sort of a tradition. For those of you not super into Buddhist or these other traditions. So it was, yeah, some of the biggest teachers. One of the teachers was Pema Chodron, who's a well-known author in a lot of circles, like The Wisdom of No Escape. So she is I think one of like the first women to become like a monastic in this one Buddhist order, and just she can just really cut to the chase of a lot of challenges and things like that. And so go hear a great speaker, and but then it was like I was also sharing a tent with a random dude that snored a lot. So there ends up being a lot of stuff that comes up, like the food was weird, and I used to be a really picky eater. And so there's all these challenges, but these challenges are what lead to the growth that give you the five benefits, right? So that was my first retreat, and I think I came back and did two other retreats at this one center. I've done a couple yoga retreats, and if you're a fan of the podcast, you probably remember episode 7, where you believe it was the start of 2020 or the end of 2019. I went to the Ananda Meditation Retreat Center. This was founded by um, I think it's Kriyananda, the disciple of Yogananda, who's the author of Autobiography of a Yogi, which just a phenomenal book. That's something I got to finish reading while I was on retreat. And it was really eye-opening and really helped me open up to a whole bunch of other possibilities. Um, and so that's another thing you do on a retreat is maybe get to some books that you didn't plan on. So I've had the opportunity to go to lots of retreat centers and do retreats and things like that. So not my first rodeo. So when I was looking to do a retreat, because it was starting to feel necessary, because I was getting ornery, I was being a pain in a lot of people's ass, including my own. And I'm like, I gotta get out of here, and I need some time alone because um, it was just became necessary. So I looked and I was like, well, maybe I'll go back to the place I went, and they were offering basically you could get a cabin, but you would have to, cook your own food, bring your own food. They weren't running programs due to the COVID precautions and things like that. And so I was like, well, if I got to do all of the stuff myself anyway, I'm just going to go find a little Airbnb semi nearby. So I found one about 45 minutes away. It was on a beautiful little ranch. And perfect space so I could put my yoga mat down, my meditation cushion, and read and go find some places to walk, which was just phenomenal. And I beforehand I created a little bit. So I didn't create a schedule, but I created a plan where I had certain activities that like I would want to do every day. Like meditate at least twice a day, do some do some self hypnosis 3 times a day. Make sure I journal, do some spiritual reading, and then also keep up with my physical regimen of daily walks and other workouts and things like that. And I also was allowed myself to watch like spiritual videos, so it was like I had a list of things that were allowed and then a list of things to avoid, and then also diet aspect too. So sort of a very um, very simple diet as well was on my menu that I had to prepare, and often in silence. And so it was uh, really well for me since I've had the discipline of being at retreats before. So I don't recommend this style for if you've never done it before, because there does start to be some times when you're alone and you're just like, oh my gosh, like what's going on with my thoughts? Like, is this okay? Is this not okay? Whereas, if you're in a group setting where there's professionals sort of instructing and letting you understand, like, oh yeah, you might be having thoughts like this, and that's okay. Just here's how you handle it. That's just a thought. It's not real, right? Um, don't get wrapped up into anything necessarily. Whereas if your mind isn't as well trained, so basically the mind is a scary place. Don't go in there alone necessarily. So I really recommend finding a retreat, that's more well organized. And even if you can't like get out of the house, there's so many amazing online programs. So you could kind of do like a retreat sort of from your own house. So like recently I did a program with Sadhguru. It was the Panchabhuta Kriya, which is the cleansing of the 5 elements. And that was very much retreat like, where there was a morning practice and then 2 evening practices over the course of 3 days. So you can start kind of like looking for programs like that, or start looking for, just start Googling like retreat centers or meditation centers, and then just kind of see what feels right for you. Or, if you do already kind of go to a place like to do yoga, or you do qigong or meditation or something, or someone weird like me, you can just hit them up and go like, "Hey, I was curious about this. Like, do you know of any places?" And you will be surprised at what you find out when you just start poking around at people, because if you get a vibe that somebody's into going and doing types of retreats like this, they're gonna love to talk about it. Like I'm loving sharing this with you, my home box office buddies, HBO. I love it, love it, love it. Well, no, I do. I've been enjoying a lot of the offerings on HBO lately, I believe. So, really, really fun. I don't get anything from plug in HBO. Anyway, so what you want is just find something that doesn't seem too annoying, that's within your budget, that's within your amount of time, and just get started. Don't try to find the perfect one. Just do something. It doesn't matter. It'll be the first step on your path, and you'll probably likely do this again. So don't worry about finding the perfect thing, or just make a little time, even if you can set aside 30 minutes. Start with just one day where for 30 minutes you just, no phone, no computer, no reading, no nothing. Just be for 30 minutes with yourself and nothing else. There's no cleaning, there's no vacuuming, there's no gardening. You got to literally not do anything, not consume anything, just be for 30 minutes. You can be outside if you want, just go sit in a chair outside. That's fine. Or you can lay in your bed, or you can sit in your office, but don't do anything. Be alone. Just try that. That is a great start of a retreat if you've never done one. So thanks so much. I believe that's going to conclude the show. Or again, go to justinwink.com, find me on social media, send me a note, let me know what you think of the podcast. If you're loving it, please subscribe, tell your friends. If you're not loving it, send a note to me directly so we can make this better, because I'm passionate about helping you live less stressed, more energetically, and from the heart. So that's it for me. Good day.